Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to the House of Valentina. I'm so excited that you're here today because today we are talking about my favorite style. This is the style I have in my own home, and that is the classic modern style. It's got all the elements of that traditional timelessness that so many of us love, but it's mixed with a little twist of modernness. I can't wait to share with you all the details of this style and how to achieve it in your own home. No matter what style home you live in, you can create this style. So I hope you will hit subscribe. If you haven't already, we are almost a 500,000 subscribers, and that makes me so happy because that means that we have almost 500,000 people who are just as passionate about creating a home as I am, and that just makes me so happy. So without further ado, I'm gonna set my coffee down and we're gonna jump straight in. Okay, so the words for this style, they're kind of in the title. And the reason why is because I've been trying to describe a style that I wanted to achieve in my own home. And I just felt like words like transitional didn't fit. Words like old money didn't quite fit. Modern didn't quite fit. I just felt like none of these words really fit what I'm after in my own home. So for me, I came up with these words to describe the style that I am after, and that is a classic yet modern style. I love an infusion of these two styles. When they are married together, it is like pure perfection to me. So when it comes to architecture, I know this is a style that a lot of you already love because just like myself, you love Paris, you love the Cotswolds, you love classic exteriors like I do, that we just go absolutely crazy over, right? Well, in this style, those classic exteriors are perfect. Now they do have a little bit of a modern twist, as in we're trying to take them a little bit more clean line. So for me, with mine, I painted the exterior white. I love white exteriors and they are perfect in this style. That is such a timeless look. That has always been here. Down here in the South on the East Coast, oh yeah, we love white exteriors, don't we? Does that mean that you can't have like a Cape Cod blue? No, you can definitely have that in this style. But what I will say is that the color palette in this style, it does matter. We're definitely playing with contrast. We're definitely playing with neutrals. And we're going for something that feels very elevated. It feels very timeless. It's not trendy. Which is why I like it, because I really don't like chasing trends, and I know there's a lot of you who don't like it either. And you're really looking for something that you can really settle in and build something year after year. And that's what we've been doing. Let's talk about the exterior, because the exterior in this style, it is really important. And I think it's gonna get a lot of you really excited to be a part of it if you haven't already jumped onto it. So we've been seeing a lot of homes being painted, right, black and white. That's been really popular with the modern farmhouse style. And then we're like, well, modern farmhouse is kind of going out. Modern farmhouse is just so trendy. This style is the opposite of trendy. This style is rooted in classics. So if you have a classic exterior on your home, you already have a leg up. And if you're in a modern farmhouse, it's already painted white, so you have a leg up. A lot of times in this style, we're using a black and white exterior or a neutral exterior. Maybe it's a limestone, maybe it's a warm, pale neutral, right? There's quite a few ways that you can play this, but the key here is that it's going to be a little bit classic with a little modern twist. That's why that black and white exterior works so well, but don't feel confined to it either. You can also think about the landscaping on this style, because that will really differentiate this style from all the other ones you've been seeing, right? This is not the English garden that's got lots of stuff going on. It's not cottagecore, it's not messy, it's not conceptual, it's definitely not contemporary, right? This is not super sleek and pared back. This is something that if you think of like Cape Cod, timeless design, right? A hedge of hydrangea boxed in by a hedge of boxwoods. That's what we're talking about. Maybe a little tall cypress on the corner of the house, and then on the porch, we've got urns with topiaries in them, right? This is classic, but it's also a little bit pared back. And I think that's really important, is to take the color palette and pare everything back and also keep it very manicured. If you would use the word elegant to describe the exterior, that's what we're talking about, right? There's an elegance, there's a timelessness to it, but there's also something that feels very relevant to today's times. It doesn't feel stodgy or old. It feels like it's very manicured and it's very of the moment, even though it's very timeless. It sounds crazy, but we can do it. We'll make all these things go together and we will have our cake and we will eat it too, right? I love it. The other thing you should remember too is that in this style, you may want to keep your classic framing on your doors and your windows. In this style, you could potentially take a classic exterior and put a little bit of modernness in with the doors, but I would not take that too far. This style is definitely rooted in a classic exterior, and that includes the windows and the doors. So think about a classic paned door for the entry. Definitely not stained glass. That really just doesn't fit here, does it? It really is very timeless, approachable. It has a classic feeling to it. It's also a little bit pared back. It's not in your face. It's not super ostentatious, right? It's just simple. And it's just, to me, it's like perfection. Now let's get inside this house because I'm getting so excited. I can't wait to take you inside. Think marble checkerboard floors for this entryway. Think classic banisters, spindles. We are not removing those classic details in this style. Those are the things that we celebrate. That's what we want. We want to keep as many of the classic features of our home as we possibly can. Now, for those of you who don't have those features, you have options here. If you have a modern staircase, spindles, whatever you've got, if it's really modern, you could switch it out. You may want to. I personally just love the classic feeling altogether. It can be grand, it can be really humble, but either way, it's elegant, and if you pair that up with those checkerboard floors, the black and white ones, that is pure heaven. I know a lot of you have wood in your entryways, and that is okay too. You can still have a hardwood floor entry. You may want to have on the floor a nice Persian rug, something that feels really classic and timeless, but you may not want to do it in a red, right? This may not be that time for that. That's really like old money style. We're not leaving it all behind. We're just transitioning it a little, just giving it a little modern twist. So think about maybe a pale Persian. I just ordered one off of Amazon and I will leave a link for you because I'm really excited about that one arriving. I think it's gonna be really beautiful with my neutral color palette, and that's what we're looking for. Now, if you've got room, you could have a really elegant console table here. You could have beautiful classic lamps sitting there. Maybe they're a little urn style, right? Got a little classic, little A-shaped lampshade on there. You might have some classic sconces with the little shades up above. You could go black. You could go for like a champagne gold. You could even go for a polished nickel here. Might have a nice big grand mirror, something that's got a classic frame on it, like the one I have up here. You don't want to go too minimal. That's where we're moving away from the modern farmhouse style. They got kind of minimal, Scandinavian as well. We're moving to a different place. We're like, I've honestly spent a lot of time thinking about this because this is my personal style. This is what I'm always trying to figure out. What do I call this? What am I after? What is it I really want? What is my idea of a dream home? And I realized for me, it was an infusion of all this gorgeous classic like architecture with a little bit of modernness also mixed into it. Now let's get into the living room because that's usually the next room that we enter, whether it's a family room or a formal room. This is usually what we come into, right? This is where I get really, I'm like, I think I've already said that about every part of the house. This is where I get excited. I love the fireplace. I love the classic details. Leave your traditional molding, your bookcases. If you don't have them, add them. Think limestone, like French limestone. Think French marble, all the classics. It's all here. You could, if you wanted to, I mean, I wouldn't rip it out if you have it. If you don't have it, you could put in a modern fireplace with this style and do really classics with everything else. But generally speaking, we're gonna go for something really classic with the fireplace. That really sets the stage for the room, and it's got a timelessness to it. Now, you can also take it and make it a little bit modern. Put a little modern twist on it by painting it black. Or if you've got the fireplace with the brick, think about painting it white. Bring it a little bit. You want to freshen it up just a little bit. That's what we're doing. We're freshening up the classics, okay? So bookcases in this room, oh my gosh, divine. The more molding, the merrier, okay? Most people don't have like wood in these rooms. You'll usually have it in a study, and I would never get rid of that. If you are lucky enough to have that study, please invite me over just so I can see it. Send me a picture. That is my favorite room. And if I had all that wood paneling, I would not paint it. Unless it was just a really ugly color and it was just so not cost effective to sand it down and restain it, I would leave it. I think that's the most beautiful room in any house in all time. That is like a fantasy for me to have a room like that. But in this room, you may want it to be a little bit more pared back. So maybe the bookcases are white in here. The rugs are gonna be a mix of, you can do Persians, pale Persians. Don't go for the reds and the blues. Go for something really pale and neutral. You could do a rug like I have in here that's got a nice silky feel. You could even do something that's got a little modern twist to it, maybe a Greek key, something that's just a little bit jazzed up, but you know, just a little touch. Think of your sofas, they're gonna be clean lined. These from Article are really beautiful because they've got all the clean lines on them. They still feel very modern, they still feel classic. It's like, it never really goes out of style. That's what we're really looking for. For the coffee tables, you may wanna think about some nice, elegant wood tones. You may wanna dress it up a little bit in this space. This is your more formal space, so maybe go for something with a little bit of a sheen to it. Maybe you wanna dress it up with a little bit of marble. We're not gonna do too much travertine in this style. We don't wanna take it too modern. We really are sticking to those classics. It's white marbles, it's some great veining potentially in there. You could go for brass as well. We want it to feel dressy and elegant. We're gonna keep using that word over and over and over. So think clean lines, simple, but also classic and timeless. Now let's get into the kitchen. I've been thinking about these kitchens for so long. I keep looking at these kitchens and I'm like, it's kind of like a stab to the heart because I already paid to put in a very modern kitchen and it's Scandinavian. I mean, if you've ever seen a Scandinavian kitchen, I have nailed it. I have nailed a Scandinavian kitchen. It's very modern. And I am always trying to make it feel more elegant and sophisticated. And I've put up artwork, I've put in some nice little books, I've put in trays. This is the one part of my house that I really have debated if I may renovate at some point and put in a classic kitchen. I had a classic kitchen when I moved in, but it was in such disrepair that I really did need to rip it out. And I was really into like bringing the Scandinavian vibe in. But if I could just tell you, if I could just admit to something for just a minute, when we moved back here 9 years ago, that was such a traumatic move. And sometimes when you're designing things in your house, you're upset, you're in a major transition, or maybe your taste changed. If you find yourself there, you can do the best you can to adapt what you've got, but at some point you may need to just change it. And I think that's where I'm at. I think I'm just to the point where I'm like, yeah, I really would like a classic kitchen. It's the thing that I find myself drawn to the most. I like that detail work on the cabinets. I like it when they're mixed with something that, right, a slab front cabinet mixed with something that's a little bit more traditional. I think in the kitchen, in this style, you should be looking for black, gray, like dark gray charcoals. You could even go for white. I know we're like, white kitchens are going out. White's eternal. I do think in this style, a white kitchen can actually really work. But I don't think that you want it to be all white. And that's the point that we've been making, is the all white, really sterile kitchens is what that really doesn't work. You want it to feel really dressed up. So I just keep picturing glass front cabinets. I picture really elegant fixtures and handles. I picture potentially a Persian rug in here. We're talking classics that also feel a little bit modern as well. So you can blend something very traditional cabinetry with something that's a little bit modern, like the slab front. You can have a really classic finish like on your pools, but you could also go modern. You can kind of blend here. But either way, the overall feeling of it is definitely very classic. It's not too modern. And that's where I'm like, I really like that. All right, let's talk about your dining and your breakfast areas. So in your dining room, I think you can definitely go a little bit more formal, and I think maybe you should. These days of getting rid of our formal dining rooms, I think it's a crying shame. I get it if you don't have a big family and you don't entertain as much, that you might find that room to be a bit wasteful. And if you don't have the room for a dining room, and you would use a library instead, make the room a library, right? Like, you really need to think about whether you'll actually use that space. But there's a lot of us who love to entertain. And I love to have my family sitting around the table in the dining room. I really think that this style, you want to take all those classic elements and color drench them. That's going to give you a little bit of modernness. You could go for a navy blue, you could go for a burgundy. You know me, I'm going to stick to my kind of black, white, charcoal, and pale neutral color palette. But I think in a dining room, you could also have a little bit of fun too. That's okay too. But you want it to feel a little bit more modern, rather than, you know, being too traditional. That way it won't feel dated, right? That's why I like to color drench the dining rooms. I have seen instances though where people do the white trim across the bottom and like black on top, and I'm like, oh, that does look really good. So if that's really your thing, it is okay to leave it. But I would think about removing, if you've got cherry wood furniture, that's where this style, it starts to move away from some of those really heavy cherry woods. And you might want to think about maybe something that's a little bit more formal in like an ebony or a deep, rich brown that isn't maybe quite so ornate. It's something that's a little bit more classic, and rather than super traditional. It's a little bit more clean lined. And I think that I just bought a china cabinet, and I'm like, why did we not have this before? I love having a place to store all my glassware. So sometimes when you're building out your dream home, sometimes when you take the time to really think through what your dream home is, it also includes the activities that you want to do. And sometimes it is a bit aspirational. Now, you don't want to be so aspirational that it's not based in any level of reality, right? You want to think through what you can actually achieve. But by creating a dining room, we started to entertain more. So that's why I'm saying to you, when you take it away, you're less likely to entertain. So why not put it in and invite your friends over, your family over, right? Or sit in there with your spouse, or sit in there all by yourself, right? Create the space that you really want and invite your people to it, and start creating the life that you really want there. So for me, I love a beautiful grand mirror in the dining room. I love having some really classic wall sconces. Your chandelier, you can go really classic, go for something with crystals and glass. You could also go, in this case, with something a little bit more modern if you've got a lot of the wall molding in there. When it comes to your table and chairs, I would definitely recommend thinking a little bit more formal in here. You might want to have a table with just a little bit higher sheen on it. You can go for black or dark, rich brown tones in your wood. And then I just really like an upholstered chair. I find it more comfortable, something that has a little dressier feel to it. I think it's okay to have a room that's a little bit dressier. Think about putting curtains in there. Think about the sideboard that you might have in there and having a bouquet of flowers and a beautiful vase. Think about setting the table with your china. Is it super ornate china? In this style, probably not. Maybe you're a little bit like me, and I have china that I got when we were first married, and I still love it. It just has a simple little gold rim around it. And I've got another little set with a simple little silver trim around the edge. I love it. Does it mean that you have to always be formal in your space? No, sometimes we'll take our regular dinnerware and take it into that room. And I think that's where we're kind of blending modern living with the classic lifestyle. We're kind of blending these things. Now in your breakfast room, you may want to go a little bit more informal. That's a space that you're going to relax in more. Think about maybe some built-ins. I've definitely thought about that for my own my own little bay window, it just wasn't gonna work for my kitchen, but I do love those. I think a built-in can be really nice. It's a classic element, right? But you can also have a little bit more of an informal chair, but it still feels elevated and elegant. Keep that word in mind. Elevated, elegant, classic, timeless, but also a little bit modern. Now, let's go to the bedroom. That sounded wrong. What's the bedroom gonna look like in this style? Well, gosh, guys, the bedroom, it's definitely very, very elegant. It's very sophisticated. Think of like an elegant hotel style feeling. It's clean lined, it's pared back. If you had the space, you could have some classic bookcases built in. Wouldn't that be a dream? I don't rip that stuff out. When I go into a client's home and they've got these gorgeous bookcases, and maybe they have like an old school, like open and kind of slide back in situation for their TV. They're like, this is so dated, I'm gonna rip it out. I'm like, why would you rip this out? Do you have any idea how expensive it is to put something like this back in? Like, no one's doing this nowadays. It's too expensive for most people. Don't rip it out. Why would you do that? Oh, we wanna have a really big TV. I'm like, why do you need a big TV in here? Like, it's just not that important. I would never rip that out. I wouldn't do it. I would leave those details. I think that's what makes these houses so great. If you're lucky enough to have bought a home from like the 90s and that era where this was like, this style was so prevalent, why on earth would you rip any of those details out? I can't figure it out. But in this room, you definitely want to think about maybe having some really gorgeous velvet drapes. You could also do a simple linen if you want a lighter feel. This style, you definitely could go for an upholstered headboard and really elegant, maybe even dressier nightstands, a simple rug, or maybe something with a little bit of like a graphic, well, you know me, I like the Greek key, but there are other graphic designs that you can use. You could go for something a little bit more contemporary, right, with a little bit more of like the splashes and things in it. Just don't take it too far, you know what I mean? Like, it's not too far. We're not putting too much modernness in this style, just a little bit. And if your style of your room is very modern, think about putting some crown molding in there. Maybe even some molding up on the walls. We've been resisting this for so long, and I just made that video about the styles that we keep resisting, and I'm like, why are we resisting this? Why did we not just lean into the classics? They're just so good. And so I think if you've got that modern farmhouse, think about going classic in that bedroom and giving yourself a retreat. It's very elegant and elevated. I've gone bold in my artwork. You could also go bold, but you can also go a little bit more subdued, a bucolic. I love that word, bucolic scenes. I love the black and white charcoals, black and white photography. You could have an olive tree in here. You can have a nice cozy chair to sit in. Think about velvets and just luxe feeling, right? Something that feels very luxurious, very elevated, rooted in classics. It's something that you're just never gonna wanna get rid of. Is it possible to buy something that you never really wanna get rid of? I think it is. My mom has these chairs that were my grandmother's that have a little square arm. They're still making chairs like that to these days. They just never go out of style. So you can go, when you go clean lined, I think that's where you can really end up with something that you never wanna get rid of. Okay, and then let's go to the bathroom. Oh man, you need a tub in this style. You could do clawfoot, you could do modern. Cabinetry is gonna be more classic. You could go for a black and white scheme. You definitely want to blend this style. You could go for, this style, you could definitely do like high gloss black doors. Amazing. Your hardware in this house could either be modern or you can go for something really classic. I love like a polished nickel. Oh, just dying over that. That hardware is stunning. So in your bathroom, you could go for, I would suggest like a champagne brass. If you're switching out your fixtures, you could go for black as well, or a dark like iron bronze color, or you can also go for nickel shades. I think they all just work. Think about little black shades over your lights. It doesn't have to be super modern. We're talking about just simple, it's more like traditional style, but the simplest side of it. That's what we're really talking about. The most clean line version of traditional style. And then go into the closet. We want it to feel like a boutique. This style, If you can splash out and create your dream closet, this style will have a lot of molding in it. It's gonna have that really classic feeling, but then your clothes might be a little mix of, lady jackets, blazers, t-shirts, right? Maybe some dressier shoes with little bows. This style is a mix, and when you get to that closet, think about lighting in there, maybe some wall sconces, maybe some black and white photography. Unbelievable, right? I think about even the laundry rooms in this style. I mean, oh my God, the powder rooms, classics mixed with moderns, it is delightful. As you can kind of tell, I love this style. I think it's absolutely beautiful. People always ask me, why do you make so many videos about trends? It's like, because you feel the pressure. You're supposed to be keeping up with these things. And I feel like the longer I do interiors, the more I push back. That I'm like, I don't want to spend my money on that. I want something that I'm going to love for absolutely years. Now that's how I want to spend my money. I want to create this dream where we have this beautiful space where our family gathers and we are making meals together and they're elegant, and we sit at the table together and we sit by the fire with books and we have a nice coffee or a little champagne on the weekends, and there's just this elegance and this sophistication, and the house just feels like the older it gets, the better it gets. And we're not trying to constantly rip everything off of it, and it's just so cruel, to do to a beautiful home. But actually, we just celebrate those things. That's where I'm at. I'm curious to know whether any of you are as well. Let me know what you think about this style. I think that this style is where things are going, because that old money style, it just feels a little bit, a little bit dated feeling. It's not completely dated, but it feels like it doesn't feel like it has enough modernness in it, which is why a lot of people just feel like there's something missing. So if the color palette in this one doesn't quite work for you and you want to do more blues, go for it. Ultimately, think about the words classic and modern and putting those together, and I think you'll land in this happy zone where it feels like home. And then it also feels really fresh and new. I think it's gonna be perfect. So let me know if you love it. I hope you'll hit subscribe if you haven't already. Come hang out with us, tell us what you think. We're here and we're on this journey together. And this is what this entire channel is all about, is a journey. We're not to a destination, we're building this over years, and that is what's so fun about it. We learn from what we don't like, we learn from what just isn't working, and then we just change it, and we are building a dream. So I'm so delighted that you get to be a part of my dream, and I get to be a part of yours. So thank you so much for being here. Cheers, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to check out all of our playlists as well. Interior design playlist, decor mistakes. We want to help you avoid all the stuff that is gonna keep you from achieving your dream home. And that's why we make those videos. So I love you so much. I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers. Bye for now.